Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are delighted to welcome you all to the HR Summit 2024 in joint partnership of FHRI, NCHMCT, and HRA Northern India on education and career in hospitality. I, Sumedha Mukherjee, along with my esteemed co-anchor, Namor Iqbal, will be anchoring for today's summit.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we begin our day of insightful discussion, it is only fitting that we start this summit with a moment of reverence and a hope for the future of hospitality. So, we would like to request you all to stand up for the national anthem.
जनगण मन अधिनायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता पंजाब सिंध गुजरात मराठा द्राविड़ उत्कल बंगा विंध्य हिमाचल यमुना गंगा उच्चल जलधि तरंगा तव शुभ नामे जागे तव शुभ आशीष मांगे गाहे तव जय गाथा जन गण मंगलदायक जय हे भारत भाग्य विधाता जय हे जय हे जय हे जय 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 हे.
Thank you all.
Next, it's time to acknowledge and felicitate the distinguished dignitaries who are present with us today. We are privileged to have professionals from various sectors of hospitality, all gathered here to exchange ideas and share experiences that will help us grow together as an industry.
I would like to invite on stage Mr. Pradeep Shetty, Vice President of FHRAI, Mr. K.B. Kachru, President, Hotel Association of India, Mr. Gyan Bhushan, IES CEO, NCHMCT, and Senior Economic Advisor, Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, Mr. Surendra Kumar Jaiswal, President of HRANI. Now, I would like Mr. Pradeep Shetty, Vice President, FHRAI, to felicitate our esteemed dignitaries.
May we have a huge round of applause, please?
Now, I would like to invite Mr. Pradeep Shetty, Vice President of FHRAI and Director Maharaja Restaurant, Mumbai, a true visionary leader known for his transformative initiatives in the hospitality sector, for his valuable words. A huge round of applause for Mr. Shetty, please.
Good morning, gentlemen and ladies, and Mr. Gyan Bhushan, IES CEO, NCHMCT, and Senior Economic Advisor, Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, Mr. K.B. Kachru, President, Hotel Association of India, Mr. Surendra Kumar Jaiswal, President of Hotel and Restaurant Association of Northern India, esteemed guests, industry leaders, HR professionals, and colleagues and students. I'm extremely delighted to welcome you all to the HR Summit, Education and Career in Hospitality, in collaboration with FHRI's newly formed Center of Excellence and the National Council for Hotel Management and Catering and the Hotel and Restaurant Association of Northern India. Today we gather here filled with inspiration and with lot of hope, and in order to have in-depth discussion on innovative strategies and the way forward for one of one of the key issues that drives our industry, not just employment but also the economic growth of the country. Hospitality being one of the major sectors within the tourism landscape of India, it assumes a lot of importance on the workforce supply for this industry. And in this endeavor of ours, it's my privilege and honor to welcome Mr. Gyan Bhushan, who is the CEO of NCHMCT and Senior Economic Advisor, Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, as the special guest for the summit. So we are grateful for your presence and your partnership and guidance and support in executing this event. Additionally, it is my pleasure also to welcome Mr. K.B. Kachru, President of Hotel and Restaurant Association of India, an industry stalwart and always a mentor and guide for all of us in the industry, and who has elevated the standards of hospitality in India. A warm welcome to all of you and all the dignitaries, industry leaders who are here. Hospitality industry showed incredible growth from the year 2000 to 2019, and this industry unarguably drove a lot of foreign exchange earnings, overall economic development. 8 to 9% of the workforce in India came from the tourism sector. However, the COVID pandemic really disrupted the activities within the industry. And when 2023, when the industry bounced back, one of the inevitable or the evident things that we saw was the shortage of talent and the reluctance of the students to join a career in hospitality. Now when we are looking at our 2047 dream of welcoming more than 100 million tourists, we are looking at our around 53 million jobs which are likely to be created by then, and a GDP growth of about 7 to 9%. When you look at all of that, the shortage of workforce is something which is of concern. The high demand, the high turnover rates, all of this, the strenuous working hours, all these issues have to be addressed. And post-pandemic, when we saw this decline in the workforce, that's when FHRI thought that we must do something. And that's when we approached the NCHMCT, the ministry, and this was the moment where the academia, the industry leaders, the owners, the professionals had to come together to look at what the issues are. And if one of the first things one would say is that the industry must treat the professional or the students in a better manner, I must tell you that in the last 5 years that is already happening. More and more, be it branded hotels or standalone, have inculcated a lot of reforms within their organizational structure on how to treat talent and how to treat the new workforce especially, and be it working hours, be it indulging and understanding the new generation, be it the Gen Z or the Gen X. All those things are happening. However, we need to look at evolving dynamics and challenges on how do we deal with them. From the studies, it looks like we will require at least 150,000 new workforce year on year if we are looking at the growth which is coming our way. And in that respect, FHRI is going to be releasing a report called Future of Hospitality Employment, Challenges, Skills, Shortages and Opportunities. This report, with the projection of India's hospitality industry to nearly double by 2029, reaching an estimated value of US around $470 million. And this report deals with all the problems and also looks at recommendations and solutions on how do we deal with this issue and how we will be able to add 100 to 150,000 new jobs every year in this sector. And this sector therefore becoming most important in terms of employability, in terms of economic growth. And even one of our recent studies also said that the workforce in this sector may not be at 7 and 8, 9%. It would be in excess of 12% if you look at the entire industry, the organized as well as the unorganized sector. So there is huge opportunity. We all have come together here to sit and deliberate. We have interesting business sessions leading to the end of the day, and this is not the end, this is only the beginning, and we need to engage on periodic manner to see how do we take forward this agenda of addressing this crisis. And this report will lead the way. We will work with the NCHMCT and the Ministry of Tourism to help us deal with each of the issues. And going forward, we will be consulting industry professionals, students and academia on what the industry can do, the hotels on one side, and what the ministry can do for all of us. Finally, the report which we will release today concludes with a strategic recommendation that calls for a comprehensive approach to workforce development. And this approach, through FHRI, we will endeavor that this will reach to the bottommost hotels, be it to every corner of the country, so that renewed focus on new HR practices are followed across all segments and all categories of hotels. Throughout today's discussion, we have around 3 business sessions lined up. I encourage everyone to participate with all the experts in this room. The discussions will definitely emanate some improvements and some learnings for all of us, and also for the FHRI as well as the Ministry of Tourism to take forward. I thank you all once again for joining us today. Let us take full advantage of this opportunity. And as I said, this is just the beginning, and I request and I expect all of you to continue this engagement within the industry and with FHRI and with the ministry, so that we can deal with this crisis and we can ensure that we create a very, very conducive and excellent career path and opportunity for students in this industry. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Shetty, for the welcome address. Now, next we have Mr. K.B. Kachru, President of Hotel Association of India, Chairman Emeritus and Principal Advisor, Radisson Hotels Group, South Asia. Mr. Kachru is a pioneering figure in the industry with extensive expertise in hotel management and development. May I request him to come and share the industry perspective. May we have a huge round of applause for Mr. Kachru.
A very good morning, all of you. I think first, good morning, all of you. I noticed I'm not very audible, so I needed some help. Thank you. I think first of all, I'd like to thank Mr. Pradeep Shetty and Mr. Jaiswal and the entire FHRI team to have thought of what is the most needed in the industry. We're talking big, we're expecting big. We are actually wanting to take incredible India to inevitable India. But how will that happen? I think the first step, we all associations, whether it was FHRI, HAI, CII, we all sat down together and decided that we may have different minds, different views, but we need to have one mindset to really go forward, talk to the policymakers, and tell them where we are today. And I'm really grateful to the team here, Mr. Shetty particularly. When we met a few months back, we said we must have one voice. We must acknowledge what needs to be done, and we'll do it collectively. Thank you for having me over here today. We're privileged to have Mr. Gyan Bhushan here today. Mr. Gyan Bhushan has been in talks with the industry for a long time. He has encouraged all of us. We have had various proposals we have discussed. We have taken them through various stages. And I'm happy to say the first step of acknowledging what needs to be done has been accepted. And I thank him for taking those initiatives and making things work. Mr. Shetty just now said that it's the beginning, not the end. I think we have to all start. Having said that, I'm not saying nothing has been done till now. Lots of work has been done. That's why we're all here. But the market dynamics have changed, and we need to change ourselves accordingly. Mr. Jaiswal, I mean, he is a great entrepreneur and actually has put a lot of things together and made state governments realize what they need to do at their end. He's trying to fix a collaboration at places which were unknown, unthinkable, and we're already seeing the results as to what he has done in his area. Thank you, Mr. Jaiswal. Personally, I'm really delighted and privileged to be here, to be amongst you. I see lots of youngsters here. That gives us a lot of hope that they are interested in knowing what's happening and what we can do as an industry. We have a funny habit. I don't know whether it's part of our DNA or not. We always expect others to do things for us. I think we have to assume responsibility. Government has to assume their responsibility. We as an industry, we have to assume our responsibility. If we have to make India inevitable, we have passed through that phase of incredible. So if we have to be there, what do we need to do? When I asked Mr. Shetty, what do you want me to talk about? He says, just industry perspective. I didn't want to bring a laundry list of what the industry perspective is and what is needed. But I think it's important to share with my colleagues here who are in different areas, whether they are from IHMs, they are from the industry, they are from the colleges, the writers, the experts, associations. They all need to equally contribute. India is at a pivotal point to be expected to be the third largest economy in the world. We all have been saying about it. And we say we will be there. But unless we do what we are supposed to do, unless we walk the talk, it's not going to happen. Some people may not like me for this, but the fact is, if we don't do what we are expected to do, it's not going to happen. 20 million youngsters are ready to take up jobs every single year in India. And can you imagine? Only 5 million get absorbed. 15 million really don't know what to do. Isn't it our responsibility to really understand what the problem is and what do we need to do? We all acknowledge that hospitality is a driving force for all of us to march into a trillion economy through our industry in 47. The good news is this year, the workforce absorbed in the very first quarter was 13% more than the previous year. So we are actually exhibiting and not only acknowledging, it's happening on the ground. Our sector has a multiplier impact on the job market. Every single room creates 2 jobs, which are direct, and there are multiple jobs we create which are indirect, whether they are vendors, they are from security agencies, and so many of them. We all admit that our industry can create 50 million jobs in the next 5 to 7 years. I read Mr. Shetty had made this statement earlier also. If we're trying to create 50 million jobs, are we ready for it? What are the kind of jobs we intend to create in that 50 million? This is especially for IHMs and craft institutes. We're talking about education here. Everybody can't be the general manager. Everybody can't be the president and CEO. House is built brick by brick. Unless the foundation is strong, it can't take the weight. So I think we have to acknowledge that hospitality is people-centric. It's linked with quality, and the dynamics, as I said earlier, in the market are changing. Technology, artificial intelligence is all coming through, but AI can't replace the human touch. Particularly in our part of the world, unless there's an eyeball contact, don't think you have succeeded. You have to understand what are your customer preferences. We need skilled manpower. It's sad that we are very close to 2025. We're already starting with a deficit of little over 1 million people in our industry. We're already short, and we're just 2 months away from it. We don't have people, and we need to address these things. You see, hospitality industry has had a little checkered record. There are people who probably were not born at that stage in 60s, 70s. A hotel manager was perceived as somebody. If you see old Bollywood movies of 60s and 70s, if they had to show somebody as a mafia leader, he used to be a hotel general manager. From there, it moved to glamour industry. We started being tagged as elitist industry. We really were not looked at what we can contribute. I'm glad things have come out in open. If we contribute 8 to 9% to the economy, GDP of the economy, we contribute. There are different data points, anywhere between 9 to 11% of the total employment of the country. We aren't talking about it. How will we get attention if we don't say what we are doing for the country? We need to be acknowledged for that. And I said we are already 1 million people short, little over 1 million short before we start the new year, just 2 months away, not even 2 months away. You know, all of you will agree with me that pandemic really gave us difficult times, difficult challenges, but it also actually gave us the opportunity of looking at what's wrong with us. Why aren't we able to provide what our stakeholders need, whether it is IHMs, whether it's the ministry, whether it's our own industry. We somehow have not been able to create the right awareness. We have not been able to create a market positioning for our industry, particularly people who are preparing these 50 million people for next 5 to 7 years. Are we equipping them first, or we are only talking about what needs to be done? It's unfortunate, and I have to make this statement, that our industry and our government both have failed in aligning in terms of doing things where education would get a priority. There's really nothing wrong in aligning to the needs of the market. Vocational training, supervisory training, and executive training are 3 different verticals which need to be addressed simultaneously. We cannot say that everybody who joins IHM is either wanting or will automatically become a general manager. Yet, we're really proud. And I'm sure you'll be all glad to know that most of the international and domestic chains are headed by IHM alumni. And a little round of applause for that. On one side, we have great success stories. It's a different thing, we have not been able to market it. But kudos to people who prepared them and brought them to this stage. We cannot ignore that. They didn't automatically reach there if somebody had not really done what they should have done. But coming back to it, if the market has changed, we need to change ourselves. I think there is an urgent need for us to look inside. What do we need to do to bridge that gap? Whether it is curriculum, whatever you may call it, syllabus or training or mentorship. I'm a great proponent, and Mr. Gyan Bhushan will agree with me. I have been talking for, I think, many months that unless industry people assume this role of mentoring the mentees at all levels, we as an industry will not grow. Each one of you has to take on some responsibility to have mentees whom you will grow. The happiest thing for any leader is he preparing people to replace him? If that's not the attitude, then you are not a leader. I think this needs to be inculcated in each one of us. I would submit that the government, Mr. Gyan Bhushan, should emphasize on the responsibilities which industry has to do, and at the same time clear decks within the government processes. I've also worked for the government for so long. I understand there are issues which need to be tackled. But I think unless all of us collaborate together, things are really not going to work for any one of us. I was listening to a TED talk a few days back by given a professor who is associated with hospitality. And what attracted me the most was, he said, in India, each PIN code is a different cultural code in India. It's a very big statement. You have to actually find who needs what. Look at what Germany did 50 years back. They realized that they don't have the workforce. They had the money. They had great institutes which produced managerial people, but they didn't have the workforce to do it. So they started very successful apprenticeship programs. This apprenticeship program, they divided into sub-verticals. And school pass-outs were straight away taken there, and offerings were made. But the most intelligent thing they did is, they also found a career path for each one of them. Somebody who joins today as a commie in the kitchen must aspire to become the chef. But who will do that is the industry. And what Germany did at that time, and we're asking, I'm going to make a request to Mr. Gyan Bhushan and anybody who is here from the government. We have a PIL scheme. Under PIL scheme at the moment is applicable to manufacturing and just limited. Now under PIL scheme, they have training within the industry. And they monitor, they execute, and you are providing certifications for modules. When modules, if they do 5 modules, it's at the level of a diploma. You do 8 modules, it's to the level of a degree. So you are meeting aspirations of those people. The guy is not stuck at the same job he applied for. So you're opening up the space, getting better intake, their future is secured, they can grow, they can aspire. In IHMs, we as an industry, we want to make recommendations. We have great faculty in many institutes. We have good people wanting to learn. I think these people need more exposure. I don't blame them if they don't know what is happening. The guest perspective today is most important. Unless, how can somebody teach food and beverage service? I'm just giving you an example since we are talking about hospitality. Teach food and beverage service if he has not operated a restaurant as a restaurant manager. That's the base. Just by reading, you cannot actually expect him. I mean, we have great trainers. I was just talking to somebody this morning, people like Mr. Ramesh Takulia. I mean, he has done wonders in terms of teaching people on the ground and actually worked and pushed them to dirty their hands. We need all the faculty. I think the first step as an industry, I would urge upon you, sir, that as an industry, you must incentivize, motivate the industry to go into such areas so that they actually dirty their hands. By just passing out and being appointed as a demonstrator or an assistant lecturer and then moving to become a professor is not good enough. And today's market, today you have to see whether it is brand A, B, C or D, they have their own brand specs. You have to understand what is required, and they make those brand specs on the basis of what the customer needs, not what the general manager wants or what the owner wants. Somebody is paying for it. So my humble request is, while government is doing a lot of things which we need to be proud of, we have Mr. Rajan Bahadur here today. He is the president of Tourism Hospitality Skill Councils. We're really proud. This particular institution has been rated as #1 skill council in the country. They have trained over, I think, please correct me, more than close to 150,000 youngsters last year.
Plus winning the awards, international awards as students won.
Yeah, congratulations, Rajan. Thank you. We need to, I've taken too much of time, but you know, sometimes you speak from the heart. I am from an IHM myself. I owe everything to the teachers who taught me, and I give them full kudos for what they have done with the limited resources. But we need to look beyond of what is happening. You are competing in the world. You are competing in the global market. You are not only competing city A to city B. Why are seats going vacant in the hotel schools? I think we need to look what is right and what is not right. So if we can work together as an industry, I can assure you, India as a market, we get only 10 million inbound tourists. Our neighboring countries get 3 times. And out of 10 million, the real tourists, I think you all know, there are a lot of people who are visiting, non-resident Indians coming home, there are Bangladeshis coming home, they're not real. But look at the irony of this. We're sending 30 million outbound tourists, and by 2047, it is estimated, not 2047, I think around 2030 or 35, we're expected to send over 100 million tourists outside India. We all need to work together, my friends. We need to collaborate together. And make things happen. I can assure Mr. Shetty, Mr. Jaiswal, and above all, Mr. Gyan Bhushan, that we, as HAI, and I'm also taking the privilege, my colleague from HAI, Charu, is here. I can tell you, the associations and the brands who are there, over 80% of the hotel brands are part of our association. We will be there for you. We will work with you. We want to make India really inevitable. We need your support. Let's focus on the strengths of individuals, not look at weaknesses only. We need to do that. We need to actually have an inclusive vision. Let's do something which has been started by all of you. Let's give a push together, and I am absolutely confident that we'll make Government of India and the industry proud. Thank you so much for giving me the time.
Thank you, Mr. Kachru, for your valuable industry insights. Ladies and gentlemen, I would request you all to kindly please turn your either phone off or on silent mode. Today, we are honored to have among us Mr. Gyan Bhushan, IES CEO of NCHMCT and Senior Economic Advisor, Ministry of Tourism, Government of India. Mr. Bhushan has been an instrumental in shaping tourism policies and education in India. Please give a huge round of applause for Mr. Bhushan for theme address.
Good morning, everyone. My friends from the industry, Mr. Sethi, Mr. Kachru, Mr. Jaiswal, and a lot of other people whom I have interacted earlier, a very good morning. I think this is a very momentous occasion where we all have gathered here to deliberate on something which is very close to our heart and also very important for our economy. You know, this particular event of today reminds me of event which is called a conclave. Many of you are aware that when there is a selection of a pope in Rome, they go for a conclave, which is meaning that all the insiders, so to say, are part of that conclave. Though we are calling it a summit, but I would prefer to call it a conclave. Because I see a lot of faces who are from the students, the faculty I see, the industry players, the associations, at least HAI and FHRA, two of them are here. I'm sure others are also here. THSC is here, which is also very major stakeholders. So major stakeholders are all here, and you know, when the Pope is selected, there is the change of color of the smoke which comes out from that particular conclave. So I expect that by end of today, this event, we will have some more clarity on the kind of path we have to take collectively. So in that context, I welcome all of you and really grateful to FHARAI and of course my team from National Council and other IHMs. I see a lot of faces from our IHM sister concerns, and I'm really delighted to be here. You know, we are in the post-pandemic phase, and hospitality, as you all this has been repeated number of times, but I will repeat it again, just to remind you that post-pandemic, we are seeing a lot of changes in trends, the things, the behavior of customer, a lot of the new generation has come, which is behaving very differently. So we also have to fall in line with that particular choice of customers, and this has been spoken very lucidly by Mr. Kachuru and Mr. Sethi also. I remember reading during the COVID times two major trend change of 1918 episode of the pandemic, because we are all aware that about almost 100 years back, more than 100 years back, there was a pandemic which changed a lot of things in the world. And two things which has come out of that 100-year-old pandemic in 1918, one was more women participation in the labor force, which was due to higher rate of mortality among men during that pandemic. And the second trend was more cooperation internationally on the medicine part of the entire, things to be handled. So people were working in silos during that 1918, before that, in the medical fraternity. But because of that pandemic, a lot of interchange happened in terms of experience, medicines and other things. And then finally, there a lot of cooperation started happening on that front also. I see this pandemic, there are still trends which are emerging out of that pandemic, but there are researchers who are working on it, both internationally and nationally, that what are the major trends which are going to be seen in the post-pandemic era. In hospitality also, we are seeing a lot of changes. We are all aware about it. We are still deciphering that what kind of those changes are. Mr. Kachru very rightly said that we all have to work together, and we need to be cooperative in the terms of that. Our goal is same. There is some benefits to everyone. As a industry, you are going to benefit. Everybody's career is going to see a very robust growth in the hospitality. There is no doubt about it. Especially, I tell this to students. This is the right time which you have come into the labor force in hospitality. All the other stakeholders, including government, we see a lot of economic opportunity, a lot of jobs which is coming to the particular sector, and which is a very good thing for us, because we are all, all economic policy targets are the growth and of course the jobs. These are the two important parameters on which any country's performance is measured. And in that perspective, hospitality is of course one of the major growth engines and job engines also, I would say. So the purpose of today's conclave, I would say, is to come out with some concrete measures, because as Mr. Kachru very correctly said, we talk big every time, and then it is where it is right now. But we need to follow it up with very rigorous, because this is a very difficult task. Somebody needs to follow it up every day, that how we are doing incrementally on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, how we are progressing. I just give one number, that hospitality industry is projected to contribute over USD 60 billion in India's GDP by 2028. And if you talk in terms of jobs also, there's a lot of studies. I think today also FHR are going to share those studies done in very great detail. I'm thankful that the industry is also taking steps on that, which is because these are all things which are in public goods in nature. So you don't get, economic mileage out of it, but certainly the entire ecosystem gets benefit. THSC incidentally has also done a skill gap where they showed that about 30 lakh jobs, additional jobs, are required by 2028. So that kind of numbers are before us. So where is the problem? Demand is, of course, there for right kind of people. So what our role should be in that endeavor? I think industry is doing their bit, government is doing their bit, but where is the stumbling block? Where it is not moving? I think we need to, first of all, collaborate more. We have been doing it. In that context, we have signed recently MOUs from the IHM and Ministry of Tourism side to 8 big hotel groups. I think many of you are aware that our IHMs, our institutions have been mapped with different hotel groups, and as per their choice, they are being now not mentored in what Mr. Kachru would have liked to in exact terms, but there is some step forward which has happened. So the hand-holding is going to be there from the industry. I'm very grateful to all the industry groups which have come forward and taken up this responsibility. I'm thankful to all our IHMs also, that they are also proactively coming out and engaging with the industry. We have been doing it, but that was not good enough. So as we move ahead, as per the trend of the industry, we need to be more focused as far as the customer preferences are required, the trends are, which are very visible. The new generation Z, Alpha and all the nomenclatures, I'm not very familiar with them, but every year there is something new which is coming out. And their preferences are also changing. We have been participating as Ministry and National Council in different trade fairs and major events internationally also. There we see a lot of trends which is coming up. The hyper-personalization in the hospitality industry, the use of the artificial intelligence, IoT, and other big data and the machine learning, etc., are also coming in place. So where we stand in terms of our, for example, exposure, the faculties, the teachers who are going to teach the students, because unless until they know it, it cannot be transferred to the students. So very difficult. So we have been taking steps. For example, in the digital marketing space, we did certain courses for our faculties by IIM Calcutta. Then we are doing it in the revenue management and integration of revenue management with dynamic pricing and artificial intelligence. So all these aspects are going to be part of the new curriculum, which there is a task force which was set up by Honorable Minister. And after that, there are 3-4 deliberations which has happened. And all these things are going to be part of the syllabus. And majorly, the National Council has entered into a MOU with JNU. So all the degrees are now with the Jawaharlal Nehru University. So that has got more credibility both nationally and internationally. So these things are happening, but there are other things which we need more. I mean, for example, there was only one, semester where students were sent to industry, but that was not felt to be good enough. I mean, so now we have thinking of bringing in more exposure, more interaction with the industry to the students and of the faculty also. So these are some of the things which are lined up and which are also being, So the basic point is the gap which is perceived now between the academic world and the industry world, and ultimately driven by the customer preference and the customer trends. Those are very important aspects, and how do we make bridges between these different types of silos and break those silos and move forward. So this is the important task and challenge in front of all of us, and we are moving definitely. The direction is very clear, but we have to move much faster. That is the bottom line, that every week we must see some increment happening in all the aspects which we have targeted. So what is the role of industry and of course academia in this? So industry is also coming up in a big way. They are trying to, whatever hand-holding that can be done by them, both for the faculties and the teachers. As far as the faculties are concerned, we have certain recruitment rules which have been changed, I think 4 or 5 years back, but we need to have again changes in those recruitment rules so that we bring in more people from the industry. As very correctly mentioned earlier, that if somebody has not done a F&B manager role, he may not find it very apt to handle a student in the class to make him more industry oriented. So those kind of things was done earlier also. We changed our recruitment rules earlier. We brought in different types of people who can come to the faculty as a faculty or as a principal, and we have taken people from the industry as well. But we need to do much more. That is what the bottom line is. So I think broadly these are some of the important aspects which I wanted to make. Another one important aspect which I think is important is the global perspective of the entire hospitality career. As we say that now India, this is the decades, not one decade, multiple decades of India in the world setup, global setup, and hospitality is also one of a very important component of it. So why not our hospitality gets the global leadership position? In that context, I think we need to gear up and make the world see as one of the top 2-3 leaders in the hospitality sector, both in terms of manpower, both in terms of services and the entire ecosystem. In that context, we are integrating more with the world in the sense that what are the best practices internationally. So we have been doing it some time back. We had a talk with the Cornell Hotel School, but a pandemic did not make it effective. Then we had now a setup with the Michigan School of Hotel Management that we already have. Now we are looking for more international exposure to our students. There could be multiple options like a joint degree, collaborative degree, and some semesters here and some semesters there, that kind of setup. So all these things are in the pipeline and will see light of the day sooner than later. And one aspect which we are now, always the Honorable Prime Minister says about our, the concept of a Paryatak Mitra, where everybody in the country is a tourist-friendly person. So wherever you go or wherever, you travel, if you are welcoming, welcomed by the particular, community there or whoever is the touch points in the service sector, you feel better and there is a repeat travel to that particular destinations. So our endeavor has been to train these people, maybe short-term sensitization of some sort, that they become a Paryatak Mitra. So we have been cooperating with the industry and we have been telling associations also. In fact, yesterday I had a talk with Ashish also from Faith that we need to do more. In fact, we are going to encourage all the MOU partners also in the hospitality that we should promote this Paryatak Mitra, 2-day, 3-day training kind of thing. So basic, welcoming attitude, welcoming gestures, all these things who are servicing the tourist or otherwise also, everybody should be welcoming to the tourists. So as we say, Atithi Devo Bhava in India, that has to come in both letter and spirit. So these are some of the things which we are doing, and so the entire endeavor is a collective endeavor. So whatever we do, we need to be together in that sense, and I look forward to continuation of this particular collaborative and supportive role from the industry, and of course from the government. We are always open. Sometimes we may not be as faster in terms of the speed which is required, but certainly we will try our best to run as faster. And sometimes Honorable Prime Minister and our Honorable Minister also is very, very eager and well-meaning in terms of bringing everybody together and running at the same speed. So with this, I think I have said whatever important things I have to say. And again, looking forward to more interactions on this. So this is not the end of the discussion today. Now this discussion should lead into some actions on the ground, and we will be following it up from our side, and I'm hopeful that from the industry also people would be following it up. And let us make it big from India, and let us be in the global space, be the leader in the hospitality sector. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Bhushan, for the theme address. I would now request our esteemed dignitaries to release the report on the shortage of skilled workforce in hospitality industry. The report is a comprehensive analysis of current challenges and future strategies for workforce development in our sector. A big round of applause, please.
For the vote of thanks, I would like to invite Mr. Surendra Kumar Jaiswal, President, Hotel and Restaurant Association of Northern India, Vice President, FHRAI, and partner, Deep Hotel. Mr. Jaiswal continues to inspire and drive positive change within India's hospitality sector, balancing innovation with tradition. Please join your hands together for the dedicated advocate for regional hospitality growth for the vote of thanks. Thank you.
Thank you. I have recently heard Mr. Gyan Bhushan, so I want all of you to show him that we'll show the action from today only. Let's give him a standing ovation, a big ovation to him. Please. I'll also request you to give a clapping ovation to Mr. K.B. Kachru, President, Hotel Association of India. He has always been a very good advisor. One of our senior most advices come from him. We try to follow him. Please give a very warm clapping to Mr. Pradeep Shetty, Vice President, FHRI. I'll just give you one of the information. His son is not well. He was suffering fever of about 104 day before yesterday. Then also he took a flight and came here at around about 11 p.m. After having such a successful convention in Goa, that tiring convention, still he is here. He really deserves an appreciation on behalf of FHRI and Hotel Association of Northern India and all the regional association, Pradeep ji. We really thank you for all that you have done for the industry. Mr. Jimmy Shaw, he is the President, Western India. Thank you very much being here. Mr. Ashish, CEO Faith, thank you very much. Mr. Hari from Coimbatore, EC member, FHRI. Mr. Amar Veer, Hotel and Restaurant Association of Northern India, Honorary Secretary. Mr. Gulati, the famous restaurant owner, is the Joint Secretary, HRANI. And Mr. A.K. Singh, Principal, FIHM, under whose leadership this all has been happening. Mr. Deepender, I saw him, the chef and the President, Indian Culinary. I think he has gone somewhere. There are Mr. Kamal Khan Pant, Principal and Secretary, Institute of Hotel Management, Catering and Nutrition, Puza, Delhi. Mr. Raja Satkuman, Principal, IHM, Kolkata. Dr. Nishit Srivastava, Principal, IHM, Mumbai. And also all to those from IHMs whose names I have missed. As we come to the conclusion, esteemed speakers, distinguished guests and dear delegates, as we come to the conclusion of this inaugural session of the HR Summit, Education and Career in Hospitality, it is my privilege and honor to express our sincere gratitude to everyone who have assembled here and contributed to make this event a remarkable success. First and foremost, I would like to extend our deepest appreciation to our Gyan Bhushan IAS, NCH, MCAT and Senior EAT, Ministry of Tourism, Government of India, for gracing us with your presence and delivering the inspiring theme address. Your words have set the tone for the summit, and your insights into the future of education and careers in hospitality will surely motivate all of us to reflect on the growing opportunities and challenges with the industry. I am also extremely grateful to Mr. K.B. Kachru, President, Hotel Association of India, for his valued participation at this summit, a stalwart in the tourism landscape of India. Mr. Kachru has enriched the deliberations of this summit through sharing a very eloquent industry perspective on the issue of human resources in hospitality. A heartfelt thanks to our distinguished speakers for taking time to join us today. Your expertise and knowledge have been invaluable in framing the agenda for this summit, and we are looking forward to the thought-provoking sessions and discussions that will follow over the course of the day. We are certain that your perspectives will continue to inspire the next generation of hospitality professionals. I would also like to express our gratitude to all the delegates attending this summit. Your participation is a testament to the importance of education and career growth in hospitality, and we are excited to engage with each one of you over the coming sessions. The future of the industry lies in the hands of talented professionals like yourselves, and we hope that you will leave from here with a wealth of knowledge and new connections. Once again, my sincere thanks to each and every one of you for being a part of this summit. We look forward to an inspiring and enriching day ahead. Before end, I will definitely like to thank all the FHRI team, especially under the leader of Mr. Jason Chako, the Secretary General, ASG Payal, Supriya, Shefali, Sangeeta, R.R. Sharma, the new CEO of Research Wing of FHRI, Mr. Utpal Khan, and Bhavana. Please give them a